Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun!
It was a daunting task, dressing up like a challenge, but somehow, with shaky hands, the transformation began. A floral summer dress, vibrant and delicate, replaced the familiar comfort of jeans and t-shirts. Each step of the process was a battle against nerves. The black tights, an alien sensation, clung to unfamiliar shapes. As the blonde wig tilted awkwardly on the short practical haircut underneath, the mirror reflected a stranger. The image in the glass scrutinized the odd sight.
"Who are you fooling?"
the silent observer seemed to ask. 3 beers in, and roommate Danny had thrown down the challenge after losing badly several hands in a row.
"I'm broke, but I'll bet something better than cash. Loser has to get a professional haircut at that fancy salon downtown, dressed as a woman."
The cards had not been kind. Now here he stood, Justin Weber, engineering major and former high school wrestling team captain, about to enter a high-end salon in a floral dress and blonde wig that kept slipping whenever he turned his head too quickly. A deep breath, then another, hand on the glass door, pushing it open to the gentle chime of bells. The interior smelled of expensive products and subtle perfume. Soft music played beneath the gentle hum of conversation and blow dryers. Several women sat in black leather chairs, some with foils in their hair, others getting trims. None of them paid attention to the newcomer, too absorbed in magazines or conversations with their stylists. The receptionist looked up, her professional smile unwavering.
"Do you have an appointment?"
The voice that emerged was pitched higher than normal. "Yes, under Leah." The fake name had been Danny's idea. Justin wouldn't exactly help maintain the illusion.
Leah Bennett? Yes, I have you down for a cut with Megan. She'll be ready in about 5 minutes. Please have a seat.
The leather chair in the waiting area squeaked as it accepted weight. A fashion magazine provided cover, while darting eyes took in the surroundings. Every woman in the salon looked polished, confident, the complete opposite of how he felt.
"Leah?"
A voice called out.
"I'm ready for you."
Megan stood by an empty styling chair, her own hair a vibrant auburn cut in an asymmetrical bob that somehow looked both professional and edgy. Tattoos of delicate vines wound up her arms, disappearing beneath the sleeves of her black smock. Standing up too quickly made the wig shift. A hasty adjustment, and then the walk, trying not to stride too broadly, to the chair. "First time with us?" Megan asked, guiding her new client to the washing station. "Yes." The single word seemed safest. "Well, welcome to Glamour Cuts. What are we doing today?" The prepared answer came out shakily. "I want something different. A bob, maybe. Something feminine." The last word caught slightly in the throat. "Lean back for me." Megan's hands adjusted the wig, pausing briefly. If she noticed anything unusual, her face revealed nothing. "The water temperature okay?" The sensation of someone else washing his hair, wig hair, was strangely intimate and soothing. The gentle massage of skilled fingers against the scalp almost made it possible to forget the circumstances. "So, what made you decide to change your look today?" Megan asked, guiding him back to the styling chair. "Just wanted to see myself differently." Something in those words felt unexpectedly true. Megan studied her client's face in the mirror. "You have beautiful features for a bob. High cheekbones, nice jawline. What about something like mine, but softer? Less angular?" The nod came automatically. I'll need to take the wig off to cut it properly, Megan said, hands already moving toward the hairpiece. Wait. Too late. The blonde wig lifted away, revealing short brown hair beneath. Oh. Megan's surprise was evident, but professional. I didn't realize you were wearing a wig. The game was up. Heart hammering, face burning with embarrassment, Justin waited for the ridicule, the anger, the demand to leave the salon. Instead, Megan simply asked, Do you still want the haircut? What? The bob. Do you still want it? I can work with your natural hair. It's long enough on top. The question hung in the air. This was the moment to confess it was just a dare, to apologize and leave. The bet only required entering the salon dressed as a woman, not actually getting a haircut. Yet something powerful and previously unnamed stirred inside. Yes, I'd like that. Megan nodded, setting the wig aside. Let's do it then. The snip of scissors filled the next 30 minutes. Brown hair fell to the floor as Megan worked with focused precision, consulting occasionally but mostly following her vision. She used thinning shears, texturized certain sections, and worked product through the emerging style. When she spun the chair to face the mirror for the final reveal, Justin gasped. The reflection showed someone new. The haircut framed his face in a way that softened every feature. It wasn't masculine or feminine specifically. It was simply beautiful. What do you think? Megan asked. Words failed. The person in the mirror looked right somehow. Not like a man in a dress, but like someone seeing their true self for the first time. It's perfect, came the whisper. Megan smiled. I agree. Now, would you like me to show you some simple styling techniques? This cut works well with or without product. The next 15 minutes were a tutorial on blow drying, using a round brush, and applying just the right amount of texturizing cream. Throughout, Megan maintained a professional demeanor, treating her client with respect and care. As she demonstrated the final touches, Justin found courage. I should explain. You don't owe me any explanations, Megan replied, meeting his eyes in the mirror. It started as a dare. The words tumbled out. My roommates bet I wouldn't come here dressed like this. But? Megan prompted gently. But it doesn't feel like just a dare anymore. I've never looked in a mirror and felt right until now. Megan put down her styling tools and turned the chair to face her directly. What's your name? Your real name? Justin, though I told your receptionist Leah. And which name feels more like you right now? The question penetrated to the core. Years of discomfort, of feeling somehow disconnected from his own reflection, crystallized in that moment. Leah, came the answer, quiet but certain. Megan nodded. Well, Leah, your haircut looks fantastic, and if you'd like, I can show you some makeup basics before you go, on the house. Tears threatened to spill over. You're not mad? Or weirded out? Honey, I've been doing hair for 12 years. You're not the first person to sit in my chair while figuring things out. Though usually they bring their own hair. She smiled warmly. For the next 20 minutes, Megan demonstrated simple makeup techniques, foundation that balanced out the beard shadow, subtle eyeliner, and lip color that complemented rather than overwhelmed. When it was done, the mirror reflected someone entirely new, yet somehow familiar, as if an old friend had finally emerged from hiding. Same time next month for a trim? Megan asked, writing on the back of her business card. And here's my cell. Text me if you have questions about anything we went over today. The walk back to campus felt different. Each step carried new awareness. The borrowed dress no longer seemed like a costume, but something closer to armor. Protection revealing truth rather than concealing it. Danny and the other roommates erupted in laughter when the door opened.
Holy shit, you actually did it!
Danny howled, pointing at the haircut and makeup.
I can't believe they didn't kick you out! You win, man! Dare completed!
The words stung unexpectedly.
Yeah,
came the reply.
dare completed.
That night, alone in the bathroom, the dress and tights carefully removed and hidden away, the makeup washed off with borrowed cleanser, the reflection in the mirror still whispered something different than it had 24 hours earlier. A hand lifted to touch the new haircut. Leah. The name echoed silently. 3 weeks later, another appointment at Glamour Cuts appeared in the calendar. This time, there was no borrowed dress, no wig, just jeans and a sweater that could pass for unisex, and the recently cut hair now growing out slightly. Megan greeted her with a smile. Leah, good to see you again. Just a trim today? Actually, I was wondering if you could help me with something else too. Over tea in the salon's break room after hours, the conversation flowed more easily than expected. I can't stop thinking about it, Leah confessed. That feeling when I looked in the mirror and saw someone that made sense. I have never had that before. Megan nodded. That's powerful. But I don't know what to do. I mean, I have roommates, classes, family. I can't just suddenly show up as someone different. Who says it has to be sudden? Megan asked. Most journeys happen one step at a time. The next appointment included more than a haircut. Megan helped select a shade of auburn for Leah's growing hair. It'll complement your skin tone beautifully, and provided more in-depth makeup lessons. Start subtle, she advised. Clear nail polish, moisturizer with a hint of tint. Small changes that make you feel good, but won't necessarily register to others as dramatic. Each visit built upon the last. Hair grew longer and was shaped into an increasingly feminine style. The auburn color deepened and became more vibrant with each treatment. Makeup skills improved from rudimentary to confident. Between appointments, Leah began ordering small items online. A flowing white blouse that could be layered under sweaters, jeans cut for women that didn't look dramatically different from men's styles, shoes that added a hint of height without being obvious heels. Roommates noticed the changes, but interpreted them through their own assumptions. Your hair's getting kind of long, man, Danny commented one evening while they worked on problem sets. Yeah, Leah answered, one hand unconsciously touching the auburn strands that now reached just below her ears. Trying something different. Whatever, as long as you're not going to make me dress up in your clothes again for another dare. He laughed, attention already returning to his textbook. The comment stung, but it also provided cover. The dare had happened and was over, a convenient explanation for any residual feminine touches that might be noticed. 4 months after that first visit to Glamour Cuts, Leah sat in Megan's chair for another appointment. Her auburn hair now brushed her shoulders. Her makeup was subtle, but skillfully applied, and her outfit, a cream-colored sweater over a white blouse and dark jeans, effectively straddled gender lines while allowing her to feel increasingly authentic. I have a question, Leah said, as Megan trimmed her ends. Do you know any voice coaches? Megan's hands paused momentarily. I do, actually. My cousin works with singers, but she's helped other clients with voice training too. Different purposes. Same techniques. Want me to connect you? Voice lessons began the following week. Twice weekly sessions in a small studio downtown with Rachel, who approached the training with technical precision and zero judgment. "It's not about making your voice high and squeaky," Rachel explained during their first session. "It's about resonance, articulation, and speech patterns. We'll work on bringing your resonance forward, out of your chest and into your face." The exercises felt strange at first. Humming sequences, tongue trills, focusing on where the vibrations registered in the body. But like the makeup and clothing, each small change built towards something greater. By the 6th month, Leah had developed a voice that matched her increasingly feminine presentation, not dramatically different from her original speaking voice, but softer, with resonance that didn't immediately register as male. It was enough to make a decision. "I'm looking for my own apartment," she announced to her roommates one evening. "For next semester." Danny looked up from his game. "Seriously? Rent is way cheaper with roommates." "I know, but I think I need my own space." The truth was, living authentically had become increasingly difficult while sharing space with 3 oblivious young men. The makeup hidden in drawers, the growing collection of feminine clothes kept in storage containers under the bed, the constant vigilance required to maintain 2 separate identities. It was exhausting. The small 1-bedroom apartment found online wasn't much, but it represented freedom. The lease would start in January, after winter break. December brought another dilemma: going home for the holidays. Leah had managed to maintain a somewhat masculine presentation for brief weekend visits, but 3 weeks at home would be different. The auburn hair was now undeniably feminine, falling past her shoulders in soft waves. Her eyebrows had been shaped. Even in masculine clothes, subtle changes had accumulated. "Maybe I should cut it short again before going home," Leah suggested during her pre-holiday appointment with Megan. "Is that what you want?" Megan asked, meeting her eyes in the mirror. It wasn't. The thought of cutting off the auburn hair that had become so central to her identity made her stomach clench. "No, but my parents will notice either way," Megan finished gently. "Hair this length with a masculine cut won't look the same as before. You've changed, Leah, not just your hair." The conversation with her parents happened 3 days before Christmas, sitting at the kitchen table late at night after her younger siblings had gone to bed. "Mom, Dad, I need to tell you something." Her mother's face immediately tensed with worry. "Are you in some kind of trouble? Is it money?" "No, nothing like that. It's about me. About who I am." The words came haltingly at first, then in a rush. The dare that had started it all, the revelation in the salon chair, the months of small changes and growing certainty. "I'm transgender," she finally said, the first time she'd spoken the word aloud to define herself. "I've been living as Leah at school for the past few months. Not fully, not all the time yet, but that's who I am." The silence that followed stretched painfully. Her father stared at his hands on the table, her mother's eyes filled with tears. "Is this because of something we did?" her mother finally asked. "No," Leah said firmly. "It's not about you at all. It's about me finally understanding why I've always felt disconnected, like I was playing a role rather than living my life." The conversation lasted hours. There were tears, questions, moments of tension, but there was also listening, genuine attempts to understand.
"We love you,"
her father finally said, voice gruff with emotion.
"We don't understand all of this. We're going to make mistakes, but you're our child. That doesn't change."
Returning to campus after winter break, Leah moved into her new apartment with a lighter heart. The space wasn't much. A small bedroom, compact living area, kitchenette. But it was hers. For the first time, she could arrange her makeup on the bathroom counter instead of hiding it away. Clothes hung in the closet according to preference rather than gender expectations. The new semester brought new challenges. Leah had decided to begin living authentically full-time, which meant facing the university community as herself. The first day of classes, she stood before her bathroom mirror, heart racing. The woman who looked back wore a forest green sweater dress over black tights, ankle boots with a modest heel, and subtle makeup that enhanced rather than masked her features. Her auburn hair fell in soft waves past her shoulders, framing a face that had grown increasingly comfortable in its femininity. "You can do this," she told her reflection. The walk across campus that morning felt both terrifying and liberating. Some heads turned. A few students who recognized her from previous semesters did double takes, but most people, wrapped in their own concerns, barely noticed. Her first class, Advanced Fluid Dynamics, presented the first hurdle. The professor called roll, pausing at Justin Weber. "Present," Leah responded, her voice steady in its practiced feminine resonance. "But I go by Leah now." The professor nodded, made a note on his roster, and continued. After class, she approached his desk. "Professor Chen, I wanted to let you know I've filed for a preferred name change with the university, but it might take time to process through all systems." He looked up, studied her face a moment, then nodded. "Thank you for letting me know, Ms. Weber. I'll make sure to use the correct name." Not every interaction went as smoothly. The university bureaucracy moved slowly on, updating records. Some professors struggled with the name change more than others. Former classmates reacted with varying degrees of surprise, curiosity, or occasional discomfort. Danny ran into her at the campus coffee shop 3 weeks into the semester. His double take was almost comical. "Justin, holy shit, man, what are you—" He stopped abruptly, taking in the burgundy blouse, dark jeans, and ankle boots, the makeup, the styled auburn hair. "Wait, is this still about that dare?" "No," Leah said steadily. "It's about me. I go by Leah now." Danny's brow furrowed. "So you're like a woman now? For real?" "I've always been who I am. I just didn't have the words for it until recently." They talked for 20 awkward minutes. Danny asked questions that ranged from insightful to cringingly inappropriate, but by the end, he'd managed to use her correct name 3 times. "This is weird for me," he admitted, as they prepared to leave. "But you seem, I don't know, happier, more comfortable than you ever did when we were roommates." "I am," Leah confirmed. "Then cool, I guess. Just don't expect me to understand everything right away." It wasn't acceptance so much as beginnings of adjustment, but it was something. Spring brought more changes. Hormone therapy began after consultations with doctors at the University Health Center. Regular appointments with a therapist helped navigate the emotional complexities of transition. The legal name change process started, a maze of paperwork, court appearances, and bureaucratic hurdles. Through it all, the monthly appointments at Glamour Cuts remained a constant. Megan had become more than a stylist. She was a friend, mentor, and occasionally a lifeline when challenges seemed overwhelming. "I don't know if I can do this," Leah confessed during one particularly difficult week, tears threatening to ruin her carefully applied mascara. "Someone in my engineering lab keeps deliberately calling me he and Justin. My parents try but keep messing up pronouns. The hormone effects are making me emotional, and I cried during a presentation." Megan squeezed her shoulder. You can do this because you already are doing it. Look in the mirror, Leah. Really look. The woman in the reflection had changed dramatically from that first day in the salon chair. The auburn hair now fell midway down her back, styled in layers that framed her face beautifully. Subtle makeup enhanced increasingly feminine features, hormones gradually softening the angles of her face, redistributing subtle amounts of fat, smoothing her skin. You're becoming more yourself every day, Megan said gently. That takes courage. It's okay to find it hard sometimes. A year after that first dare, a full calendar cycle of seasons, classes, challenges, and growth, Leah celebrated by hosting a small gathering in her apartment. Megan came, along with Rachel the voice coach, 2 friends from her transgender support group, 3 classmates who had become allies, and, to her surprise, Danny.
Nice place,
he said, looking around the apartment decorated with plants, framed engineering diagrams, and personal touches that reflected both her analytical mind and artistic sensibilities. Much cleaner than our old dorm. Leah laughed, smoothing down her emerald green dress. Having my own space helps. As the evening wound down, guests departing with hugs and promises to meet again soon, Danny lingered.
Can I ask you something?
He said, helping stack plates by the sink.
That dare, do you ever regret it? Or wish I hadn't suggested it?
Leah considered the question, leaning against the counter. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a loose ponytail, her makeup slightly smudged from the evening's laughter and warmth. The dare didn't make me who I am, she said finally. It just created an opportunity for me to discover what I'd been missing. So, no, I don't regret it. It's a strange thing to be grateful for, but in a way, I am. Danny nodded, seeming to accept this. You know what's weird? You seem so much more real now. Like before, you were going through the motions, but now you're actually living. That's exactly it, Leah agreed. I was playing a role before. Now I'm just me. After the last guest departed, Leah stood before her bathroom mirror, removing her makeup with the careful routine she'd perfected over months. The woman who looked back at her was still evolving. Hormones would continue their subtle work. Her style would refine. Her confidence would grow. But the core transformation had already happened. It wasn't about the auburn hair, though she loved the way it framed her face. It wasn't about the clothes, the makeup, the voice, or even the increasingly feminine body. The real change had been internal, the alignment of outer expression with inner truth. She touched her reflection gently, remembering that first day in Megan's chair, the moment of recognition that had changed everything. Hello, Leah, she whispered to herself. It's nice to finally meet you. 2 years later, Leah stood before a different mirror in a different bathroom. The graduation gown hung open over her simple navy blue dress, the engineering honor cords draped around her neck. Her auburn hair, now halfway down her back, was styled in loose waves for the occasion. The makeup she applied was subtle but confident, skills perfected through daily practice. A knock at the door. Leah, we need to leave in 10 minutes if we're going to get good seats. Coming, Mom. Her mother waited in the living room of the apartment, dressed for the occasion in a floral dress and modest heels. The journey hadn't been easy for either of them, but they'd walked it together, stumbling sometimes but never letting go. You look beautiful, her mother said, adjusting the honor cords slightly. Your father and brother are saving us seats. Your sister texted that she just parked.
Is Megan coming?
She said she'll meet us at the restaurant after. Something about a client emergency she couldn't reschedule. Leah nodded, gathering her cap and keys. Typical Megan, still managing her salon with the same dedication she showed her clients, still making time for the nervous young person who had walked through her door on a dare 3 years earlier. The graduation ceremony passed in a blur of speeches, applause, and time-honored ritual. When Leah Elizabeth Weber, Bachelor of Science in Engineering, magna cum laude, was called, the cheers from her family section brought tears to her eyes. The celebration dinner afterward included everyone who had been part of her journey: family, friends old and new, allies who had become chosen family. "Speech!" someone called out as dessert was served. Leah stood, smoothing her navy dress nervously. Public speaking had never been her favorite thing, but some moments demanded words. 3 years ago, she began, I walked into a salon on a dare, terrified and confused. I had no idea that single step would start a journey that would change everything. That day, I saw myself, truly saw myself, for the first time. She looked around the table, meeting the eyes of those who had supported her. Her parents, who had moved from confusion to advocacy. Her siblings, who had adapted with the resilience of youth. Friends who had stayed. New connections forged through shared experiences. Megan sat near the end of the table, her own auburn hair now styled in a pixie cut, her smile knowing and proud. Everyone says college is about finding yourself, Leah continued. I just took that more literally than most. Laughter rippled around the table. But seriously, I wouldn't be standing here today, not just as a graduate, but as myself, without all of you. You've supported me, challenged me when I needed it, picked me up when I faltered, and celebrated every victory, no matter how small. She raised her glass. To authentic journeys, and to the people who help us find our way. Later that evening, back in her apartment preparing to pack for the move to her new job across the country, Leah paused before her bedroom mirror. The woman who looked back wore comfortable pajamas, face freshly washed, auburn hair pulled back in a messy bun. 3 years ago, that reflection had been unimaginable. Now, it was simply her, Leah Weber, engineering graduate, daughter, sister, friend, woman. The journey hadn't ended. In many ways, it was just beginning. But the foundation was solid now, built on self-knowledge that had started with a dare and a haircut. Her phone buzzed with a text from Megan. Proud of you today. Remember to find a good stylist in Seattle. Don't trust those auburn locks to just anyone. Leah smiled, typing back. Never. But no one will ever replace my first. She set the phone down and returned to packing, each item carefully placed in boxes, preparing not just for a new city and job, but for the next chapter of a life finally being lived authentically, one day at a time.
Thanks for watching, my girlies. Be sure to check out Patreon for more.